So now how do you actually get a new component or a new what we call content types on the back end? What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new content type, and then we're going to add it to the bottom of this page in this final row. Then we're going to change some layouts, right? So to add a new content type or component inside of dotCMS, you can see here that we have no call to action, right? So we're going to add a brand new call to action just by clicking here. Don't have time to talk about all the different types of content types you can create, but we're going to create a regular content type here, and we're going to call it call to action. So, and so then I'm going to just click create, and that's going to give me this little layout editor where I can drag and drop fields inside of the content here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a site or folder field, because typically many of our enterprise clients run multi-tenant. So they'll put a content host field so that the same content type can be used across many hosts. We want that to be searchable. We'll show you what this is whenever we contribute the content. It'll make more sense. Then I'm going to add a text field called headline and make it required and user searchable and show in the listing whenever we look at it as a piece of content. I'll click save. And then I'm going to add a WYSIWYG later on. I'm going to add the block editor so you can see both. And we will call that, you can see the notification about, hey, you could be using our block editor. Heading. And we won't make that searchable. And then I'm going to add two different rows down here for adding buttons. So this will just be text and a little subheading and then some actionables down at the bottom, some buttons. Now, I can add two different buttons here. So I'm going to add two different rows so that it's easy for my content contributor kind of understand how things lay it out. So I'm going to add a line divider now and call this button 1. Line divider here, button 2. And then I'm going to add the button text and the button URL. So I'm going to once again text over here. Button text 1. Let's copy that. So then I can also do that over here. Button text 2. And then add a button URL 1 and a button URL 2. Save. And a button URL 2. So just a simple content type and save, so that then I can now go and drop this content on a page or add it over here from the content tab. So I'm just checking my variable names, make sure that I have everything set up. Yep. Okay. So I can now come over here and add, and I can add a new call to action here, right? And these are the fields we just looked at, button 1 and button 2. Or I can do it right on a page. So I'm going to go back to the site browser, go back to my index page, and add my new content right down here at the bottom in my headless edit mode anywhere experience. So the same thing we just clicked on the content tab, I can click here from the page and add content. And the type of content I'm going to add is a call to action, right? And now we're looking at that experience here to add it. And this is where you can determine if different user roles have different permissions to add content to different hosts. This is where that content host or folder field comes into play, because it will respect permissions and only allow them to save to the host that they actually have permissions to.